Hi, welcome to lesson 150. We're here in the textbook on lesson 10.2. I have a nice worksheet that you have in your packet, so if you grab your packet, you could try these problems with me. I don't have enough space here for my big fat marker, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put them on the paper. Couple things. Notice that the first one, you can go ahead and do this one. I have a nice subtraction problem here. It's a bit awkward because notice that there are A's and B's in there, or A's and B's in there. So I thought that was kind of fun for you to go ahead and try. Notice that they're not like terms, are they? So your entry for this problem is not going to be one number. It's going to be, your first entry here is going to be b minus 2b squared. Notice the size of this this matrix. We use rice cakes to remember that. And remember rows by columns. So this is a 1 by 1, 2, 3, 4. So my answer is going to be a 1 by 4. When I go ahead and I add the two together, I'm not sure you can see my pencil here, which is why I use the marker. And you're going to go ahead and subtract those. So pretty cool problem. I'm going to try number 3 and 4 here from your worksheet, and just give you a quick introduction to multiplying matrices. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this problem, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop this matrix down, all right? So I'm going to drop the matrix down. I'm going to recopy this onto, with my big fat marker, because it's fun to do it that way. So 6, negative 4, 0, negative 2, 0, negative 5, okay? So if you're a messy person like me, this can get tough. I do like this method of multiplication because, well, it makes me line everything up. And look at this. I didn't even leave enough room here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look at the size of the matrices. So the first matrix I'm multiplying, I need my size. I need my order. This is going to be 2 rows by 3 columns, so that's a 2 by 3. And the second one I'm going to multiply here is, let's see, 3 rows by 2 columns, 3 by 2. So in order for you to multiply matrices, these inside numbers have to be exactly the same. Let me say that again. These inside numbers have to be exactly the same. If they're not the same, you cannot multiply. And then the answer you're going to come up with is going to be the size on the outside. So my answer here is going to be a 2 by 2. Now, lining it up can be tough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw myself some helper lines. Grab my pencil for that. Draw myself some helper lines here, put those in, and my answer is going to go right here in this spot, right there, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply. 6 times negative 6 is negative 36. I've got negative 4 times 5, which is going to be negative 5, which is going to be 20. I've got 0 times negative 6, which is 0. Love getting those 0 answers. I go ahead and I add that together, and I get negative 16, and that goes right in this spot, okay? The key to matrix multiplication is using these 2 fingers. Now I want to find the number that's going to go in this entry right here. So I go down to for this row in this column, and I'm going to go ahead and multiply. 6 times 0 is 0. Negative 4 times 5 is negative 20. 0 times negative 6 is 0. So that's real fun, another 0. I go ahead and I add these all together, and I get negative 20 goes right here in this entry. I'm going to do that again. I'm starting in this. I want this entry here. I want this row, and I want this column. So let's see. I'm going to do negative 2 times 6. No, I'm sorry, negative 2 times negative 6, which is 12. 0 times negative 5, which is 0. And negative 5 times negative 6, which is, today it's 30. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add those up, and that's going to give me 42. So that positive 42 is going to go right here. All right, moving along. Here I've got this entry, moving along. So negative 2 times 0 is 0. That's nice. 0 times 5, 0. Negative 5 times negative 6 is going to give me positive 30. I add those together, and I get positive 30, and I've got put that right there in that entry. Okay? So to recap, what I did is I took this matrix here, and what I did is I dropped it down, and I put those lines in to help myself out, okay? So I took this and I dropped the matrix down, I put the helper lines, and I used my multiplication to keep it straight. If you take a look at, so this is number 3, okay? This is number 3. So if you take a look at number 4 on your paper, before we even get started, well, actually, I could just do it on here. Number 4, I need to look at the size of the matrix. So the size of this matrix, the order, let's see, it's 2 rows by 3 columns, so 2 by 3. And over here, this matrix, that is also a 2 by 3. So I'm looking at the inside numbers. Can I multiply them together? Absolutely not. The inside numbers are not the same. So we say this is undefined. Okay? Cannot do that problem. Let's try one more. How about a little bonus? Let's do number 5 together. Okay? So instead of doing number 4, let's go ahead and do number 5. All right. So take a look at number 5 on your paper. If you want, you pause the video. It's the beauty of the video. You can pause it. Not like when you're sitting in C105. There's absolutely no pausing happening here, right? I got you on your toes all the time. But if you'd like, you can pause the video, give the multiplication a try, and then restart the video. Okay. So I'm taking a look at this one, and I cheated a little bit because I know how it's going to go. I'm looking at the size of the first one. The first matrix here is a 2 by 3. I'm looking at the size of the second matrix. That's a 3 by 1. Do you notice the inside numbers are the same? So my final matrix is going to be a 2 by 1. All right, that looks kind of weird. And I'm ready to draw those helper lines in here, but there's no helper line here for me to draw. So I'm going to go ahead and do this quick multiplication. So I've got 5 times 5 is 20. Again, this entry, so I use my left hand to move to the left and my right hand to move straight up. So that's going to be 25. Negative 1 times negative 3 is positive 3. 0 times 1 is 0. So I'm going to go ahead and add those together. 25 plus 3 is 28. All right, second one, plus 0, of course. Negative 6 times 5 is negative 30. Negative 4 times negative 3 is positive 12. Negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. I'm going to go ahead and add those together, and I get negative 22. Okay, and so that entry is going to go right here. Okay, so that's matrix multiplication, just a quick introduction to it. Remember, your first thing you're always going to do is to check on your size, make sure the matrices are of size that you can go ahead and multiply. Inside numbers here have to be the same. They have to be the same. And then the outside numbers here are what the size of your answer or the order of your answer. And that's exactly what we did here, where we've got a 2 by 1. Our answer is a 2 by 1. Over here we had a 2 by 2. All right. Enjoy matrix multiplication.